Welcome, crafty friends. It's time for another 10 cards, 1 kit video. And I have on my desk Spellbinders November card kit. This month, the kit is called Time Offline, and we're going to take a quick look at what's inside the kit before we get into our card projects. So let me pull out my pen knife here and open up this darling box. This kit is going to give us a little pause from creating Christmas cards and winter cards, which I've been making a lot of lately. Let me pull off this tissue paper and show you the kit contents page. Right off the bat, I love the dies. They're so simple, but yet really pretty. I love dies that are easy to use and that are stash builders like that. So let's get into the basics. You're going to get your adhesive, which is a foam adhesive as well as a double-sided tape. Here are your sequins. And you always get 10 envelopes and 10 white card bases. You get a big pack of ephemera or die-cut shapes. And I'll show you a close-up of these in just a moment. Here's the stamp set. I love that cute little camper there. The sentiments are fabulous. They say, life is a journey. Here's to another year of adventures. And I like the one that says, just roll with it. So many cute ones. You get a double-sided pack of chipboard stickers. And as you can tell, we have a theme developing here of campers and camping. Here's some foam stickers, or foam sentiments, I should say. These are some puffy sentiments. I use these a lot in creating my 10 cards today. And then one of my favorite things from the kit is the pack of pattern paper. This is a 6x6 pad, and it's lightweight pattern paper. You get 2 of each pattern, and they're single-sided. Look at those cute campers, a starry sky, thermoses. It's just a very eclectic assortment of designs. Cute little cloudy sky pattern, and then look at these stripes, and then more stripes. Here's some kayaks. And then look at this wood grain. That one's pretty. And then I love the plaid. Those are pretty colors. Some florals, another plaid, rainbows. That one looks like a map. Some pretty fall leaves and some camping tents. Okay, so let's look at these cute dies. Again, these are very simple and easy to use. You get an arch, you get a daisy, a couple of mushrooms. I don't have any mushroom dies in my stash, so that's pretty fun. Then these 2 pieces go to the flower. And it's a layering set. And then you get some leaves. So let's put these aside and take a look at the cardstock. I usually store them on my Spellbinders diamond magnet, but it's being occupied by other dies right now. But you get a lot of gorgeous cardstock, as you see here. I love that bright red one. There are 8 in all, plus a piece of gold double-sided mirror cardstock. As promised, I'll show you the die cuts next. You get 2 of each die cut. And I'm just going to kind of lay them out here on my work mat. I'll speed this up for the sake of time. A definite camping theme going on here. There are lots of pretty florals. There aren't a lot of sentiments, but I think we're covered with the sticker packs and the stamps for the sentiments this time. Okay, so I have to admit, I've only camped 3 times in the last 16 years, and that's not including the times we camped in our backyard. I enjoy camping, but it's just not something I actively seek to do. But let's get back to card number 1. I had to go straight for the dies. I blended on some Clear Skies ink from Simon Hurley onto my white card base. I'll glue down the arch die cut next. I put 2 layers of white cardstock behind it, as well as 2 layers to the outline. I love that it has a little outline piece for it. And then I'm going to put the flower on the side. This is going to have a similar look to the example on the kit contents page. Just a little bit of a different coloring. The center of this flower is going to be gold mirror cardstock. And then the little dotted piece on top is going to be yellow. I love layering die sets like this. There's just so much you can do with it. Okay, I pulled out my tweezers because these are such small pieces. This is going to go down flat at the side of my dome or arch. And then this butterfly comes from the die cut shapes pack, and I pulled out both of them. The second one I'm going to glue down just in the center so it has a little bit of dimension with its wings lifted up. And then last, I'm going to add a few of the leaves. These leaves are so cute. And I cut them out with similar colors to the flower and the butterfly. So very simple card and very quick to put together. The sentiment comes from the puffy sticker sentiment strips. It says, "Home is wherever you are." I'm going to put a little bit of glue to reinforce this. However, I probably don't need to do that, but just in case. I found a little sentiment tab or banner that I really like. I'll put this up at the top. It just says "Smile." And here is a close-up look. I always decorate, or I should say most of the time, I decorate the insides of my cards. And here's a peek at that. I decorated the insides of all of the cards I'm creating today. Card number 2 is going to be kind of a masculine themed card. I pulled out a bunch of camping die cut shapes, and I'm going to make a wreath in the center of this green cardstock. But I wanted to stamp out my sentiment first. I'll emboss this with some white embossing powder. It'll stand out really nicely on this dark green cardstock. I'm taking my time on melting this so that I don't warp the paper too badly. And then I'm going to attach this to a white card base. I cut this down a little bit so that I have a white border around this panel. I cut out a strip of pattern paper and fishtailed one end. I'm just going to tape that down flat on the side. This will add a little more interest to the card. And then once that's in place, I'll just flip it over and trim off the overhang. So all of my pieces are going to be popped up with foam. So let's start with the largest piece first, this cute Jeep. Put that down at the side. Next, we have a compass and then a fire. I like this cute wood slice and a camera. And then I have a flashlight and a tent. And the sentiment makes this a great card to give out as an anniversary card. However, if I were to give this to my husband for our anniversary, he would probably just laugh because we rarely camp. I'll put this last die cut shape in place. I'm going to add a few mirror gold discs around the sentiment. And here it is all done. It's a different kind of a wreath, isn't it? I don't think I've ever made a masculine wreath before like this. And here's a look at the inside. On card number 3, I really wanted to use the piece of pattern paper that's black with the gold stars on it. So I'm putting down a piece of the gold cardstock first, and then this beautiful piece of pattern paper. I usually start with the pattern paper first, and that inspires me to create the rest of the card. So let's center this. I'm pulling in this cute Spellbinders die set. It's called Sun and Clouds. I've had this in my stash for a while, but I'm going to turn the sun into stars. This is going to be a sentiment-driven card. All of the supporting pieces are kind of subtle, and the star of this show is going to be the sentiment. I'll place these pieces down diagonally across this card, and I want them all to be touching so that they're just kind of cohesive. Let's add a little bit of glue behind these. The chipboard stickers really do need to be reinforced with some glue or dot liner of some kind. And then I'm going to add another star at the bottom, as well as another sentiment from the puffy sticker sentiment strips. And this sentiment says some kind of wonderful, and then the main sentiment says, "You are the brightest star in the sky." I embellished it with more of the gold mirror discs, and here's a look at the inside. On card number 4, I'm not going to be using any pattern paper, just a piece of this pretty blue cardstock. I'll mat it with a piece of the dark navy cardstock, and I'm just putting it on top of this piece of light blue cardstock so you can see the dark matting. And then I love these little mountain die cut shapes, so I'm going to be using all of these on the front of this card. I found that using dot liner helps me to put my cards together a lot easier because I can adjust them and move them around as I want. And then once I'm able to commit to the placement, I can peel them up and pop them up with foam squares if I want, or I can just keep them in place with the dot liner. I pulled out a bunch of the forest trees. I'll add some leaves to the corner. And that cute sun, I just love the look of that. So now I'm going to peel up just a few choice pieces and add some foam squares behind them, just to give this card a little touch of dimension. I'll do the same with these leaves at the front corner. Using the dot liner also enables me to do this. I'm going to peel up the mountains. Just needed a little bit of a darker blue behind them. So I'm using the Clear Skies ink again, and I'm just going to blend on some darker blue. This adds a really cute touch to this card. It makes it more interesting and fun to look at. I'm going to pop up the sun with a foam square. And then the sentiment, I had a hard time choosing because they're all cute, but I decided to go with this pink one that says explore, wander, roam, live. And it kind of ties in with a little pink leaf at the bottom corner. I'm going to use some glitter pen over the sun as well as the snow on the mountains. I debated whether putting any sequins or embellishments on this, but I decided it was perfect as is. And then I can glue this down to the white card base. This is one of my favorite cards from the set. And here is a close-up look. On the inside, I used another leaf and a tree die cut shape, and I stamped out the sentiment that said, "Life is a journey." Card number 5 is next. And this wouldn't be a Jackie's Craft Table 10 cards, 1 kit video without having created a floral collage card with all of the beautiful flower die cut shapes from this kit. I used a piece of burgundy cardstock as a mat for my plaid piece. And now I can start layering on all of these pretty flowers. And again, I'm going to use my dot liner so I can move them around as I want. I'll use the largest piece in the corner and just go from there. I'm using this leaf piece as a stem for my flower. And then once I have it all assembled, I am going to peel up a few of these die cut shapes and pop them up with foam squares. I especially wanted to pop up the main flower there at the bottom corner. And I use quite a lot of flowers on this card, but I love how this one turns out. I'll use another sticker strip for the sentiment. And I liked the white one that says, "Collect beautiful moments." I thought that went really well with this collection of flowers. And this time I'm not putting any glue behind it. I think it's going to be okay without glue. It's just the chipboard stickers that definitely need the glue. And here's a close-up look. I used more of the gold embellishments around this card. And then the inside, I used more flowers and the sentiment that says, "Wander often, wonder always." The plaid paper and the flowers look really pretty together. And I like the stickers because not only are they cute, but they make for some fast sentiments. Card number 6 is next. And we're going for a piece of this cute striped paper. I'll use some Gur ink from Simon Hurley to add a little bit of shading behind the pieces that I'm going to put down on the front of this pattern paper. So the main piece, or one of the main pieces, is this stump, and I'll pop that up with some foam squares, and then the fox I'll pop up as well. I'll just put the foam squares at the top of the fox. And I'll use a little bit of liquid glue to glue his feet and tail in place. Before I put him down, I want to glue down this wood slice. These wood slices are just going to curve around the fox. Now I can put the fox down. The small wood slice I'll glue down flat as well. I'm going to stamp out a sentiment on the front of this card. This just says, "Hey there," and then the sticker says, "Find your happy place." I'll back this piece of pattern paper with more of the green cardstock. I don't want to smash my striped panel, so I'm putting the dot liner on this green cardstock and trying not to take it clear to the edges, because this is going to be a matte. And then I'll pop it in my Mini Misty to stamp out the "Hey there" sentiment. I'm using more of the Gur ink to do this. It makes it just kind of subtle. It's not too bold, but I like it that way. I cut out another flower using the dies from this set, or from this kit. I want this flower to match the flower that's in front of the stump that the fox is sitting on. So I chose paper kind of similar in color to that. I'll use a mushroom die cut shape. And here it is all done. I didn't use any embellishments on this card. And here's a peek at the inside. Such a cute little forest scene card. Card number 7 is another of my favorites. I'm going to use the camper die cut shape as my focal piece. But first I'm going to stamp out the sentiment that says, "Just roll with it," on this piece of reddish orange cardstock. I'll emboss it with some white embossing powder. And then I can melt this. I'm also using the pattern paper that have all of the campers and tents on it. And I'll put that down on my card base. There's not going to be a white matting this time. The circle is so large I didn't really have room for a white matting. The circle I popped up with foam squares. And then I'm going to pop up the camper as well, just to make it really stand out. This is such a happy, fun-looking card. The rainbow's going down flat. I'll just kind of tuck it a little bit behind the camper. And then the sun again. I die cut some leaves to go behind the camper. And I'm just going to kind of tuck them behind. I'll put down one more sentiment, this yellow one. And it says, "Stay on the happy trail." That's such a fun sentiment. And here it is, all done. On the inside, I used another rainbow and more flowers, and I stamped out the sentiment that says, "Wander often, wonder always." And now we're moving on to card number 8. This is another of my favorites. It was my intentions to only create 5 cards with this kit because I have so many time constraints in October. It's one of my busiest months with birthdays and anniversaries and everything, Halloween. But I just couldn't stop playing with this kit. And again, it's not like I'm a big camper, but I just loved all of the pieces, the die cut shapes, the stickers, the sentiments, everything. It was just fun. So I just couldn't stop creating cards with this kit. So I do end up creating my usual 10. I love this little die cut shape piece here, the hiking boots, and that's the central piece of this card. I popped it up with some foam squares on this wood slice. I popped up the wood slice with foam squares, and then everything else is just being tucked behind the wood slice. And then for a finishing touch, I'm going to use one more sentiment that says, go, see, do. Oh, and I do add a few jet black pearls around this panel. Spellbinders has come out with a lot of different colors of pearls, and I just love using these lately. These black ones are so cute. Let's put this one down next to the hiking boots. And here it is, all done. On the inside, I used more of the pattern paper and more die cut shapes. Now we're up to card number 9. I'm going to do another critter card, but I want to put a night scene behind him. So I'm using some blueprint sketch and some ancient mariner. And I cut out another of the arches with some white cardstock. I'll put a little bit of black ink at the bottom and the top just to make it a little more dramatic. And then to create more stars on this panel, I'm going to pull out some Distress Mica stain. This is called Flickering Candle, and it came out last year from Tim Holtz, but I just love this one. I'll just kind of flick a few drops of this on the panel. And then I'll put this aside to dry. While that's drying, I'm going to put down a piece of navy cardstock onto the white card base. Then I'm going to alter this die cut shape. I want to get rid of the fire. I just want the squirrel and the little stick and the marshmallow. I'll just cut that piece out altogether so that I can use the larger fire there. Now that my arch is dry, I'm going to glue it down flat. And I'm making sure to leave a little bit of room at the bottom for another sentiment strip sticker. And this one says, search for the simple. Such great sentiments in this kit this month. So the fire will go down flat. Everything else is actually going down flat. The squirrel and the stump. And then the last thing I'm going to put down is another sentiment at the top. And this sentiment just says amazing. And here it is all done. On the inside, I kept it really simple. I just used more of the same die cut shapes and pattern paper. I'm pulling out the cutting dies for card number 10. As well as this cute piece of pattern paper. And then I'll top it with another piece of pattern paper, these pretty flowers. And I'm going to kind of recreate the flowers using the arch die. We'll put this at the bottom. I cut out a piece of gold mirror cardstock to put above this. It's just a nice transition between these two patterns. And then I can just trim off the overhang. So I cut out the arch with some Barely Peach cardstock. And this is going down flat using a little bit of dot liner. I'll put it on top of the gold mirror strip. And then the outline is just going to be more of the Barely Peach. It's just a very subtle detail. I could have made it a different color, but I thought I'd just keep them both in the peach cardstock. To make the flowers look a little more like the flowers on the pattern paper, I'm coming in with a Copic marker just to add a little more of a purple tone to it. And then I cut out the centers with some red cardstock. The sentiment is very little. It just says, "Go wild." And now that the sentiment's in place, I can glue down the flowers. I'll glue these down at different heights. And this center flower I'm just going to alter a little bit by cutting off one of the leaves. Once I'm done gluing all of these down, I'm going to trim off the bottoms of the stems just so they don't go outside the arch. I attached some more gold discs inside the arch around the flowers, and here it is all done. I hope you enjoyed this unboxing and card projects using Spellbinders' November card kit called Time Offline, and I hope you were inspired. I'll have all of the links to the products I used listed in the description box. I'll have more November Club Kit video inspiration coming out really soon, so watch for those. And in the meantime, have a wonderful crafty day, my friends. Bye!